Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Are you ready? Ready to do this, dude? Oh, hell yeah. That was a satisfying little pop.
Yeah, like that.
Satisfying. You're taking a little tug off that bad boy. What kind is it?
This is, I don't even know. It's delicious, though. I mean, it's rye.
Rye, but...
It's just Jackson Hole. American rye, Jackson Hole.
Nice,
This is
dude.
not a...
Straight from that big hole, huh?
This is not a plug. Well, and I'm also drinking, because this is my favorite shot glass, too, is this Yellowstone one. I don't know why.
Oh.
It's cute. It's got the little gold rim on it. It's just classic. You know what I mean?
It's perfect. Like, that's literally just fucking... What is that called? A gift shop style.
It is.
That is just...
It's my
just
favorite
like
one.
roadside gift shop in Yellowstone. Until, well, no, you got that years ago, but it's your birthday. So
It
happy
is.
birthday.
Yeah. That's why I'm drinking, is to forget.
Yeah, right? Forget the pain and the age.
Yeah. So this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. I'm Levi, the birthday boy, and that's Jordan, the not birthday boy.
I know, I don't get a birthday anymore.
Yeah.
I did make my shirt though for Midsommar.
I love it. That's such a nice smile.
So, dude,
But
that's such a good way to end it. Man.
Everything-
Oh man.
So-
Spoiler alert.
If yeah, I mean this whole thing's a spoiler alert. So we're this is the last movie of June, the summer movie month, and holy fuck, I'm feeling it here. It's literally so hot. There might be a buzz in the background, but I don't care because I got my my window unit in.
Yeah.
Because it is
survive.
it's like 97 here today. And I'm
No, thank you.
sweating. I'm sweating hard, dude.
No, sir, I don't like it.
No, so it is certainly the middle of summer, and I don't want to celebrate it as they do in this movie. Because I too feel like I'm being burned alive.
Spoilers, dude.
So this whole thing's a spoiler.
Welcome to the podcast where we really do spoil everything.
So we are talking about, obviously, Ari Aster's 2019, right? God.
It's so funny, dude, because COVID
Midsommar.
did add like at least a year, if not like 5
That'll
years.
always
everything.
be a divide for a long time to come in our lives, because it's like it literally 2019 was only not that long ago, but it seems like Midsummer came out a mid-century ago.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. It like because even Hereditary was like 2018, right?
Yeah, like 17, 18. I think
Was it?
18. No, it was 17.
Because I remember
17 or 18.
It had to have been set, maybe, because I remember when I was reading it, it was like, this is like one of the most like back-to-back movie, you know.
Yeah. It had to be because
like,
I was
directorial debut.
still living in Salt Lake when it came out. So
Yeah.
it had to have been 2017 because I moved.
'Cause
I moved to Ogden in 2017.
Well, shit. Because we saw both of these movies together. We saw Hereditary together, and we saw Midsommar together.
We did. We saw Hereditary at the Broadway, and I don't remember where we saw Midsommar. Probably the Broadway.
I think Midsommar, dude. No, was just Century.
It might have been.
I think it's straight up. It had a wide release. Like
Shout
it was
out,
like a full-
and shout out to the Century 16 on State Street. They actually, since they're this is a local thing, but they're part of the Salt Lake Film Society, so they actually get good movies.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Thank
that
God.
Has to be new, or
No,
I don't know. Oh,
I mean,
been a while. Okay.
yeah, I mean they don't get all the ones that like Broadway does. But they get,
Broadway and Tower were like
Yeah.
they were the main ones that I remember being.
Yeah, those are still the main ones. But Century, because luckily Century 16 is like the main one, but like all the Century theaters in Utah are kind of have a partnership with Salt Lake Film Society. So some of them like will get the like more limited release films for like maybe just a couple showings or something. I feel like it's gotten less since COVID, I think, but thank God. That's the only reason, though, because it's like, you know, some movies will come out and they'll only come to the Century up here, you know. Even though these days I prefer to go to AMC, but
dude, and Midsommar was shot in Utah. Isn't that funny? Is that
No, it
cute?
wasn't.
All the American sets are in Utah.
No way.
When they're in America, it's shot in Utah, and then it's actually mainly shot in Hungary. But
that makes total sense. The Utah stuff, because it's like
mountain lion and everything.
Hereditary is totally like 100% shot in Utah too, mostly.
Yep.
And that one was.
I wonder
that one's
if Ari
obvious.
Aster's from Utah.
Dude, I need to know. I'm gonna stalk him.
That would be. Hey, go do it. While you're looking that up, I'm gonna read a little synopsis for everybody out there in the world. If you haven't seen this film, I'm gonna read you a synopsis right now that kind of lays the groundwork. I highly recommend you go watch this movie. It is very neat, and I'll just jump right in. Danny and Christian are a young couple with a relationship on the brink of disaster, only staying together because of a tragic group suicide of Danny's unwell sister and parents. Months later, a still grieving Danny invites herself to join Christian and his college friends to the Midsommar festival that was planned by Pela, I believe. I can't remember. Pela, I believe.
I literally just call him Pele because it's like your dog, but
Pele. It's very similar, but Pele's one L. But anyways, I believe it's Pela. Pela, their friend from Sweden. Let us know out there in the world. Friend from Sweden. And they're all heading to Harga, a small farming village. Upon arrival, the group are immediately plunged into the festivities. They take mushrooms and head to the living quarters. The native folk are donned in crisp white with wildflowers as the backdrop. After they settle in and finish the communal feast, the true ceremonies commence. While the men that joined are tempted by the customs in this new land and disappear one by one, Danny ends up with a chosen family, adapting to their customs and becoming the May Queen. In a state of euphoria, she chooses her human sacrifice, ending the eternal sunlight in a blaze of glory, with a smile on her face.
Yeah.
And then we glossed over a lot of. There's so much like lore that it's like you have to write a book about it. So we're gonna chat about it. But.
Their like ideology of their culture is fascinating.
Well, and it's cool because it's like you can tell that some stuff is like heavily researched, and then I watched like an interview with Ari Aster, and he kind of talks about how a lot of it is like there'll be like large chunks that are researched and like factual.
It seems like a mix, of like
big time.
Yeah, like a lot of this is based in actual like Swedish folklore, but then a lot of it is like, the specific to this community and is something that is original to the story. And I don't know what, but you could tell watching it like how much it's like intertwined, and that's what makes it creepier because it's like seems all the more real. Like this 100% seems like something that could happen. It's not like totally out there. No elder demigod comes down. Though that'd be cool, but a different movie. But
right, it would it would make it bigger. I don't know. So, what were your first impressions? Because we've seen this together, so I can say I don't know how you remember the theater experience, but I remember it being fucking dead ass silent. Oh, and I did want to say before we got into this, if you are having suicidal thoughts, because that opening is brutal, please look up the suicide hotline. If you just Google it, it gives you a bunch of resources. There's the number, and then
this movie's definitely got some heavy themes. It is everything: depression, anxiety, suicide.
So when we saw it, I equated it to, in the first 10 minutes of Up, where it brings a beautiful tear to your eye.
Yeah.
This is the first 10 minutes of Up, but it's just, it rips your heart out and it poops onto your heart and then it steps on your heart and then it puts your heart in the trash.
I remember the first time we saw it, like from the get-go.
Dead silent.
That opening, because the opening's it's like 20 minutes before the titles roll, you know what I mean? And it is just fucking crushing. Like it is just so dark and so heavy and just like the
tone perfectly.
It's the absence. Like it's like the low point. Like everything's just the worst in this movie, especially starting off in the best way possible though, but it just opens that huge opening with the anxiety and then like the slow walk through the house with the firefighters and everything. And then just her calling him and just screaming, and then the shot goes out the window into the snow, and then the titles start over the snow, and then it says Midsommar in the huge snowy with the screeching violin, and I remember seeing it in theaters and just being like, shit, yeah.
We're being like,
Pretty sure we turned to each other and we're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this time too, I was just like, God damn.
Dude, it is.
It packs a punch for sure.
It's rough, and even like watching it on, because I watched it like on a smaller screen, and even then, it's still like the music design and like how he shoots. So like this guy's wild. Before we started recording, we were talking about Ari Aster kind of just coming out of nowhere. Like he was in his early 30s when he dropped Hereditary.
Fucker.
So it's just, I know, right? yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah. He was like, it might have been around your age too.
I turned 31 today.
Yeah, dude. But anyway,
I'm still the young one between the two of us. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, like 2 years. But dude, it's wild that I feel like he came out of nowhere. I don't even know if he's got like a short, any shorts.
I feel like he had like a little something, but like it really is like him and Robert Eggers like came out of nowhere and like started this whole like quote unquote new wave of like elevated horror. I feel like Jennifer Kent and A24 like in general because The Witch and then like Babadook and Hereditary and like all those were starting to come out, and A24 especially like
they were taking
all those movies were A24 and they were just kind of like slapping one out after the other, and these guys are already like I will see anything that either of them does till the end of time at this point.
Forever, dude. And Disappointment Boulevard's coming out soon. It's like
next year.
Dude, he's a monster. He's like, he did Hereditary 2018 and then Midsommar 2019 and then Disappointment Boulevard. I bet that would have came out in 2021, 2020 if COVID didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's an animal. He's just like, maybe he's just trying to,
can't
get
wait.
A bunch out there, and then
I don't know, man. This movie, I always flip flop though, because I need to watch Hereditary again. So maybe we need to. I've seen both of them now about 3 times each.
Yeah.
This was my third viewing on this one, and I actually watched the director's cut this time. But I need to watch Hereditary again because I keep flip flopping about which one's my favorite. And
I think Hereditary.
Right now I'm Midsommar though, and I don't know if it's just because it's fresh in my mind, but it's just like. It so is 100% what it is. It knows exactly what it's doing. It moves at the pace. Like even the regular version has the regular runtime is like 2.5 hours, but the director's cut is just under 3 hours. So even then, it's like it definitely got more of a kind of a slow pace. But the whole movie's got this meticulous vibe to it where it's very tension filled, even when, and that's what's so beautiful about it, is like even during like supposedly normal what would be happy scenes, but there's just like there's tension within the group. There's like slight suspicion from like the cult, towards the group. Like there's like things that are wrong enough to be weird, but then they have all their tension. Like every single scene with Danny and Christian is fucking beautiful. Like it's so well written and so well acted in the subtext of like the drama that's going on between them and the toxicity of their relationship, and then like Christian and Josh and their competitiveness with their like, and then
getting their thesis, dude. Christian, I will stand. Christian got a raw deal. I mean, that guy is like.
He was a fucking douchebag, but he didn't deserve to die,
Right. I think that's kind of the thing. It's like he got drugged and raped, and then he got murdered. So
he was a coward. He got a raw deal. He did. He got a raw deal, but he's still a fucking selfish douche. But he doesn't.
Watching it this time,
doesn't deserve
I think the only like, I wouldn't even. It's not even like negative as much as I kind of feel like everybody died. It was kind of weak motive for people to die in this, but that's so like undercut. They all make sense. It's all, everyone does everything, and it's all their convictions cause them to die, and their greed and their selfishness.
And all of them, I think is an interesting choice with how this movie is so unsettling, just as like in its undercurrent, and it does have the points of shocking violence, especially with the ritualistic suicide scene, but like all the main characters except like Josh is killed on screen, but it's super brief, and then Christian is killed on screen at the end,
and
that's it.
Even then, he's not. I mean, he's killed, but he's
It's
just like he's still alive.
Yeah,
while
but like
they're shooting it,
right.
he clearly dies.
But like
Clearly dies,
Mark
but-
is killed off scene, like the two other
All the-
people are killed
yeah,
off scene.
Connie and Simon, and they're
Yeah.
like,
Well,
yeah,
you know
they're-
who got the most raw deal was fucking Simon though.
yeah, Simon definitely did.
He
But
got
because
he got the Blood Eagle, man.
nobody, dude, that Blood Eagles.
Well,
yeah.
one thing for
Brutal.
sure. So in the director's cut, I'll tell you, give you a little sprinkle right now. There's a lot more with like building up to Josh and Christian's like conflict with each other and like their thesis issue.
Yeah.
That is actually, I think, builds out their relationship a lot more. Plus, there's a lot more
And-
stuff with Christian and Danny, obviously.
And they show Connie's death, right? Or they like allude
No,
to it more.
but they do allude to it more
No.
because they do have a mock ritual of this other kid throwing him in the river with a stone on him, and then later, Connie, when you see her body getting wheeled to the temple at the end, the pyramid thing, she's wearing all the same clothes that he was wearing. So it's like they did that.
Soaking-
Yeah,
He looks soaking wet.
yeah, they did that ritual with her where they like sunk her in the river. Is what that's implying, but it's interesting. I forget
dude,
why I
it's
started.
Well, no, but I mean, because we're jumping
Well,
all over. But,
the violence. I was gonna say, like in the director's cut, there's definitely more of the violence. And it's like I remember originally seeing the Blood Eagle bit where Christian runs into the shed and Simon's there, all pinned up, and you're like, is he still breathing? Like you're like he is, but or is he tripping? Because everything up until that point, like it's a very hallucinatory psychedelic climax. But it's like they definitely went longer on the director's cut in that scene, and he 100% is.
he breathes again. That's what I was reading that too, and like that it's like he was breathing. But you know what's crazy? That on this watch, I noticed that like drugs are such a heavy influence, and it's cool how they're used throughout. Like how like he smokes resin at the beginning, like that's his character to right off the bat. Christian is like smoking resin with his friends, and then presumably he's high like 100% of the movie, and it was kind of a cool, like this is just like a fan theory. I have no actual like definition, but he like was smoking resin, and then it's like throughout all these times, like when he comes over to her house, he looks shocked, but he also, he looks stoned, and then like when they're going through and they come and they start doing shrooms, it's like ever since that point too.
Yeah.
He's
Well, and
like,
same with Mark too, the other friend. He's constantly puffing on his vape, and he's the one that's like initially like, "Oh shit, shrooms, hell yeah!" And but it makes sense because he's obviously like the fool archetype that is just like he comes along, but he doesn't pay attention to anything that's happening. He misses the suicide. He pisses on the tree because he just is not paying attention to the culture or the surroundings like at all. And obviously that's what gets him fucking skinned. Which
and he never really takes like
terrifying.
accountability for it, dude. Yeah, that scene's so dope. All the like you said, it's cool how like a lot of the death is off camera, but yet what we do see later from their deaths is amazing.
Terrific. Like, dude, when Josh sneaks into the temple to try and take pictures of their scripture, and then like he's like, Mark, close the fucking door, and then he like steps in, and you're like, oh, something's weird, like that's creepy, and then you see that it's like someone wearing his skin, and you're just like, god damn. Like again,
and like all of the like the sound design in this is amazing,
so
beautiful.
Good.
Like even that scene when he's wearing it did you notice that he matches the breathing?
Yeah.
So he's wearing Mark's face, and then Josh is like twitching on the ground.
He's having the huge the like groaning that you get from like traumatic brain injuries,
right?
Which
right.
freaks me out too.
Oh, dude, I know, that bludgeoning is brutal. And he's like, he's having that like the inhale that's like super, it's like skittish, and then he's breathing like the same way, and it's like it's those little details that are just beautiful about this movie.
The breath. It's funny that you mentioned that because like, not only does it seem very important in the movie because they're like breathe, do the, like every time they do a thing, but. When it comes to the sound design, you can hear their breathing like way more than you would any other movie. Like every time Danny's trying to keep it together, she like walks off, you can like she's like barely containing her like hitching sobs, and it's like super pronounced from like an auditory standpoint. Like, this movie's a feast visually and auditory the whole time. So, like, and when the music decides to come, it's simple, but it's super effective.
Oh, it's so, dude, and it actually, yeah, you're right. It is pretty. It's pretty simple.
It's usually like a lone violin until the end, but it's interesting because it like the vibe of this movie really, it starts off as low as you can fucking get, and it's almost the opposite of a lot of horror movies because especially if you follow any other character, it would be like a typical horror movie where like they're just living their life, they go to this village and things slowly start getting creepier, but flowing from Danny's perspective as a protagonist, she starts at the lowest point and she slowly kind of grows and like
that's
and like
cool,
the
right?
music becomes better and she slowly becomes part of this. Like I noticed this time watching it too, like I was like thinking like everything that happens to her is like specifically like trying to be a positive influence on her. Like you could tell the cult, like, and she slowly is wearing their clothes to by the end of, like, she starts with the apron, then she's got the dress, and then she wins the May Queen, and she goes the full fucking flower gown. By the end of it, she's literally just a pile of flowers.
Just jazz and gold.
And nearing the end, everyone's gone, and then Christian's whacked out of his mind on those fucking hallucinatory dandelion drink, and he couldn't look like more of an outsider. Like he's just outside the group. He's in just like a black t-shirt, and Danny is part of it, and it's interesting to watch that transition because it's like thematically like that, or like fits the whole thing, and like even the music becomes like happier near the end, even though like the events are being more disturbing technically. Like you're seeing your friends like skinned corpses and stuff, but the music is like pretty jovial. I think it's really interesting. And it fucks with me in a way that like a lot of horror movies don't, because it's just like, I don't know, I think it is kind of different in that way, to where it's like has a different vibe. It's not your typical horror movie. It's like I would almost like wouldn't even fully call it a horror movie, you know what I mean?
And that I was actually gonna get to that because you can't label this movie. I mean, you know, psychological horror I guess would be the closest thing. But what I really like is Ari Aster, he himself just calls it a dark fairy tale.
Yeah.
It's essentially just
so
like
it's saying to Mary, I'm like, it's a rebirth. You know, it's like her old life is in ruins, and she comes to this place, and it turns out to be exactly what she needs, or exactly what she thinks she needs.
It kind of becomes. So I was thinking it's twisted in fate too.
Yeah.
Like she shows up, and then they didn't know. The community doesn't know that she's coming in. You know, like Pela can talk to them. Maybe I'm not even sure how they correspond.
I think they do know. This time,
that's the thing.
This time watching it, I think that they do know her story. Yeah. Like I think part of him, because they honor at the end. They honor Pele. I'm gonna just say Pele. They honor him at the end for like his great insight at the end of the the 90-year festival. His great insight for bringing these people that were like perfect for this sacrifice, and you can tell, and it's brutal because the whole time watching this, the first time I watched this, I thought he was the good guy, like he was the nicest guy.
He's the coolest villain ever.
Because
it's wild,
and he thinks what he's doing is like nothing wrong with it. I don't know. It's fucking brutal because now watching it, I know that he's just like manipulating them and like tricking them. Essentially, like he plays them in every possible way to bring them along, and how eager he is to bring Danny, because I think he can tell that like, oh, she's prime for this.
Yeah,
like that deep loss.
She's very vulnerable, so like she's open to like any kind of manipulation. And then I'm like watching it this time, I'm like, oh my god, that the drugs, it comes back to the drugs where it's like they use it like ceremonially, and they use it like to manipulate and to entertain and to frighten, and it's like it's used in such a way that I feel like they kind of created the reality around her to get her to be the May Queen. Because totally, when they're doing the maypole, they're like, people are bumping into each other and shit, and people are keeping her upright when they like, when they go around, and like when she starts to seem a little like Daisy, they'll pep her up and like smile with her, and like.
And they did talk about They mention it briefly. I think I think they go a little bit more into it in the director's cut slightly, but they definitely mention in the regular one how they talk about how every now and again, to avoid like inbreeding issues, they have to like bring in new people. But that's partially why Christian has that like sex ritual with that girl to like have a baby from an outsider.
And they in the regular cut they
say
totally
that.
like explain that. Yeah.
But they like, I feel like they have like a more of a conversation about how they bring people in every now and again too. Like
this is what
worthy
I've learned
to it. So it's like Danny becomes part of that. That's her new family.
Danny is the 90th year May Queen.
No, yeah, this is.
Thus,
they don't do this every fucking year. Like they
That's completing.
They have their suicides still
right.
as long as they need to every solstice or whatever with the people who have reached the end of their life cycle. But the Great Feast only happens every 90 years, which is why this is a little bit more extreme.
Yeah, and I love that, like the like nine being that symbol where it's like, 9 people need to die, and then it's all the times tables, of like what age you turn, like, although whatever that word was and stuff like that. It's like they use 9 a lot throughout that. And I was seeing this time when they're up, I guess it's just like when you turn 72, you like put your hands on that ruin, and so it's like all the ruins that are up there.
I know. I didn't really notice it the last 2 viewings, but this time I noticed that there's entire mountainside is full of those.
Right.
They're essentially like their tombstones, you know what I mean? They're just like, it's like a whole cemetery up there of like their ruins for each person. Goddamn, yeah. So good.
It's so so visceral. That like his deaths, because in Hereditary it's the same way. Like his sound design and everything is so beautiful, and it's like, it's not even like watching it. I mean, it's visually horrific, but it's just that like the thud, and then it just shows a brief moment of it, and it like, God, it's just enough that it like fills your mind.
Now's a good time. It may or may not be my most favorite scene, but I'll think of another one when we talk about it. But that scene in particular is maybe the best in the whole movie, just because. Like from a technical standpoint, the turning of the story, a character development, because it's like, not only is it absolutely incredibly shot, the sound design is absolutely amazing, because from the first jump, she jumps, you get the crack, but then like the audio goes all like mute, and you can hear, because she's like in shock from seeing it, Danny, and you hear like Simon and Connie like screaming, but it's like muffled, and like the way that whole scene is. But the one that, and it always clicked with me, but now knowing more how it ends, what really clicked with me more this time is the moment that and I want to watch the original one again, the regular version, to see if it's like as pronounced. But she right before the woman jumps, the kills herself, right before she jumps, she like stares right at Danny, and Danny's like freaking out, and like she's having, again, with the breath, like the main thing you can hear is like she's about to have a panic attack, And
she does that, and she like grabs Christian's arm.
She does. She grabs his arm.
Then he's falling. She's falling.
But like they share a long look.
You love falling, man.
I do. I do. I love it. But how
it's done in this movie is
so
very
good.
stylistic.
They share this long look, like she's like, I'm at peace with it, and then like the other main lady, Aunt whatever her name is like, it's bad to God, I wish I knew. I'm gonna find the exact quote, but essentially it's along the lines of like, it's bad to fight the inevitable because it corrupts the soul. So like, why fight death? You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's a huge turning point for Danny as a character, to like, her life is ruined. Like, people can't even say the word family around her. Like, they say family to her, and she has a whole meltdown. But after that point, she realizes like, wow, like she looked me in the face, calm, and chose her death, her moment. And it's like, death doesn't have to be this huge, dark, crushing thing. And I feel like that's really the turning point for like Danny slowly tipping into the side of the cultists and becoming one of them, because it's exactly what she needs, because even Pele says to her, like, this community has made me feel held, and like that's what clicks with her. He says, like, he's like, I have always felt held, and she's
in
like
the director's cut,
Christian's not your home.
Does Christian ever kiss her, or does he like ever touch her? Because I'm like not 100% sure, but I don't think he ever touches her except for the hug.
Yeah.
Like that hugging scene. But when they go to Sweden, I don't think they ever touch.
He definitely does in the director's cut once, but
they kiss.
It's his own manipulative thing. Like he comes in because this scene's definitely not in the regular cut, but they have like this huge fight at night after this other ritual, the one with the boy by the river. They have this huge fight, and about like how she's always has an ulterior motive, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, you're just the victim," blah blah blah, like just being a douche. But they just end it like that. But then he comes back the next morning and he kisses her and like gives her a hug. And she's like, "I'm so sorry." Like, she's the one to apologize.
Oh, no, dude. Yeah. She's always apologizing.
She's like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry about last night." You know, she's definitely the one that's always taking the brunt of that. And
her desperation to keep anyone around her.
It's so well written, dude. It's so well written.
When she finally gets accepted, it lands so well. Dude, do you know it's wild too? This is another one of British actors doing an American accent flawlessly. Like to listen to both of them, Christian and Danny, Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh is super British.
Is super fucking British. When you hear him talking, they're like, "Oh, the baby was great. Ariosto was a beautiful man, and I loved him." And it's like,
oh my
you're
God.
like, "What the fuck?" And
why are they
like,
better actors than us?
I know, yeah. Well,
Shakespeare fuckers.
We got her over here. I know, yeah, exactly.
That's true, but it's like that always happens. God, it always happens. I had no idea that because they crush it. They seem like your total typical. Yeah. And it's
on this watch the whole time I was like, everyone's so attractive. I love their clothes. I love everybody's. I like the traditional, like farmers' clothes, and like everybody's like ceremonial clothes. And then I even just like whatever Christian was wearing and Josh and stuff, like their clothes looked so nice and comfortable. I don't know. It's like
I think my favorite thing about the director's cut. So if you ever watch it again, you should watch the director's cut.
Oh yeah.
I think the original theatrical cut is best for a first-time viewer, but if you're going to watch it a second time, watch the director's cut. But it's how much they flesh out Josh's character more, because it's like he's a good character. I really like his character.
No, so there's a scene. So the pube pie scene.
Yeah. When
Christian's there and he's that whole love ritual
and the blood mimosa or whatever.
Yeah. Ooh, delicious. But Josh is kind of awkward in that scene. He seems really disconnected and like not even like he delivers a couple lines and they seem weird.
Yeah.
And he just learned about the like Bible and the inbreeding and everything like that.
Yeah.
That aspect of it. So I'm like, maybe he's just like lost in that kind of thought. But it did feel awkward. Is there a scene between that you remember?
Totally. Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, good. Because the whole time I was like, man, he seems like. Did they argue about the thesis?
Yeah, there's way more drama because it starts kind of earlier too. Like there's a lot on their drive to, like once they get to Sweden, there's like 10 minutes of that. Not fully. There's like at least 5 minutes though of them driving to the place, and they're talking in the car about the thesis and about Christian, like not knowing what he's gonna do. But it's like Josh, he definitely has more of like his motivation makes more sense for him to like jump the gun and take pictures of the scripture.
Cool.
After the other one, because it builds him in a way like him and Josh keep having this back and forth, and then Josh keeps trying to go to the other people, but keeps getting like, taken out. But you can tell he's freaking out about it, and it like is slowly building up, and the tension between the two of them is building up.
Well, and I wouldn't be surprised if because he's clearly Josh is like the academic. He's the smart.
Well, what he says is totally true. That argument they have in the bunkhouse is fucking great. Where he's just like, when Christian tells him he's gonna do his thesis on this too, and he's like, you fucking, because that scene's longer too, and he's literally, he's like, I literally drag your fucking lazy ass through all this. Like, you don't care, which is fine, but why are you in academia? This is my thing. Like. Right. He's halfway between, like, Mark. I don't even know why Mark's there other than to just party and have a good time.
Right, and I think that's it. Yeah,
that
and
is his thing.
I think Pell just invited him because he knew Mark would be
Well,
kind of an easy target.
he fits the archetype of the fool, which
the fool
that he
who
needs.
they needed. Yeah, and dude, speaking of like fitting archetypes, I think it's beautiful, and it's such a this movie first viewing of this movie, it's so overwhelming. I mean, it's like still this is my third time. I'm still like would love to watch it again to catch things I didn't catch, but that tapestry right at the beginning where it like literally it like if you like pause, I was looking at it because I was deciding what to print on my T-shirt, and I was looking at that tapestry.
It's like the first half of the movie.
There's so much. No, dude, it's like 100% of the whole movie. There's so much little tiny detail that I'm like, oh, that's like a scene of the movie throughout the whole thing. It's like either a catalyst to cause like all these other things to happen, or it's like just directly like, related to it. And I would love to see inside the like meeting house where they talk to Christian about, setting up the arrangement for him to.
Well, I literally this time watching it because the one picture you get the most focus on in the meeting house is the burning bear.
There's the bear,
and I'm like, I'm getting a tattoo of that.
Dude, yeah, that's a sick. Oh my god, and it's like the roses by it and stuff. It's beautiful, dude. This movie in my notes, I just wrote like, what did I write? Like, what was that? King of foreshadowing or something? It was like,
there's so much foreshadowing.
It's like
way more in the director's cut too. There's so much foreshadowing. It's great. It's great writing. One thing that I kind of made a note of, and it's just a funny thing that I laughed at, is after Danny, they at the beginning, well, when they get to Sweden and they start tripping, and they're all wigging out, and Mark's wigging out about it being daytime, and then Danny like runs off and into the woods and is having a horrible, like that's like the worst, like the extreme music of her running through the dark woods is like the worst trip ever.
And they've got this is my favorite movie to show the experience of
100%.
drugs.
That's what everyone says. Hallucinogens is specifically, but it captures it quite well.
Right.
It's one of the few media, like few films that I've seen that that captures like hallucinogens well, and like the thought process. Like you can tell they've done hallucinogens.
Oh, guaranteed.
Because you can always tell in a scene where someone in another movie where someone's like they take acid and then dragons come out of their butts or whatever, and I'm like, this person has no idea what they're talking about.
or it's like, or like they'll smoke a powder and then it's just like the camera's crazy and it's like and they're like it's so like. It can fit sometimes thematically and be funny, but like it's so unrealistic. Yeah. And this is like there's times where it's like literally so subtle things are popping that at me as a viewer, I'm like, whoa, did I just see that movie?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
same.
That is 100% what it's like when you're on mushrooms.
It's like shifting,
allegedly.
breathing,
I wouldn't know, but
allegedly.
I wouldn't know.
Well,
but,
and like the weird razor's edge of anxiety too of like I think they looked at me and they smiled and I like, is that about me? Like what is going on?
Well, I love the he's like, oh, Mark's like, new person. Oh man, I don't want a new person. He just walks by and he's like, hiya.
Yeah. Super friendly. Swedish guy.
Yeah. They're like freaking out. I'm like, yeah, that's totally
so funny.
Totally what I've heard about.
The part that she when she wakes up, they find her the next day, and she says, "Did it ever get dark?" And I said, "Your whole damn fucking life is dark, man." Like the whole time I was like, "Yeah, it got pretty dark, dude. This whole thing got pretty dark." But it's just kind of fun. I don't know. Like,
yeah, dude, it's such a good movie.
Let me see if I got you got anything else right there? I'm gonna pull up a Reddit. I could probably talk about this movie for a long time. But
oh, dude, and like it's cool. That scene, the sex scene. When he comes running out, like the attention to detail is beautiful. Like he has like like whatever fucking that like the hymen blood all over his dick, and it's just like it's brutal. And then I love that he comes out like butt ass naked, and that was his choice.
Yeah,
he
goes full. Yeah. He hangs dong full on, and I respect that.
And it was like he wasn't supposed to. Like Ari was like, "Nah, you don't need to." And he was like, "It's like no." He's like, "I want to be." He's like, "I'm a victim. Like women always get to be the victim."
Well, yeah, now and like the fact that it shows like, they get to be good for them.
I know.
I know.
I was gonna clarify that a little bit more. That it's like he chose because he watched the night before he watched I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like, he's just like, yeah.
It is a big difference.
Women are always victimized.
It's always like or sexualized. And it's like all the nudity.
They have to be nude in like an extreme movie. It's like a guaranteed that a girl's gonna be nude, and so he was kind of like, let's do it.
Yeah. Wow. How do I have this many comments on here? Yeah, there's a lot.
I know it was great. I was reading through it. I'm like, people must love this movie. I mean, I'm glad they do.
A couple people said they didn't really like it, but I get that this movie, fuckers. No, I get that this movie is not for everyone. But it is 100% for me. like I didn't do my Letterboxd rating yet. I haven't done it. Obviously, I watched it last night, and then today I've been busy. But it's 5 stars for me. Like I think this movie. I gave it 4 and a half because I think I like Hereditary more, and that's just mine. I think
it's a 5. I'm not afraid to say it. I think
that Hereditary is a better horror movie.
Yeah.
Like I think Hereditary is fucking terrifying in all the correct ways and is fucking just deeply disturbing and gripping. But something about this movie is like it does the folk horror thing.
Yeah.
But different enough.
This is internal and Hereditary is external.
What?
And so I like that aggression that comes out in Hereditary.
Yeah. I just can't think of anything wrong with this movie that other than it comes down to taste. Like I think it is written superbly. I think the pacing might be too slow for some, but I think in this one it's incredibly tense and interesting.
It's so there's 2 parts. Lack of knowledge on any of the folklore or anything like that from my end, but from a narrative standpoint, there's a few things that they talk about, like how many people need to die to be sacrificed, and then how many foreigners are involved. Because when you first show up, there's a ton of foreigners, and so but you only focus on these
weed out,
Yeah, and so you're kind of like, okay, I get it. There's other rituals. There's other, that's how come I'm like, it doesn't ruin it for me or anything, but it kind of leaves me like, it's weird. I don't need a movie to flat out just tell me everything that's happening, so I can be like, oh, I had no loose ends. But that was something I noticed.
Well, again, a lot happens off screen. Major characters are killed off screen. You know what I mean? But it does such a good job, insinuating and leaving just enough there to answer your needs, but leave you wanting more. You know what I mean? It definitely does. There's so much more. You're like, oh, I want to see Mark get killed and skinned. I would love to see that. But it works.
But we kind of do get to see that because we can put our old thinking caps on when he's showing you how to dissect the bear at the end. This motherfucker's been dissecting. And
that's such a small glimpse into him being a mentor, showing these kids that's just a part of their lives. He's like, all right, boys, this is it, because this is your trade. You know what I mean? It's just how this community works. It's just a small glimpse, and they just don't even give it a second thought, and they just throw Christian up on the table with the bear, and it's just part of it.
Besides the pube, those pies looked fucking dank.
I'd eat it with the pube. I don't even care.
I mean, true. Yeah.
If you're gonna give me a love potion, all right. So Wu-Tang Clan Thug 9mm says, they commented before too. Thanks for commenting. Says I like that it basically could happen to a lot of Americans. I could go there as a young college guy trying to get laid and doing everything I can to respect foreign culture, totally overlooking how bizarre the circumstances are, only realizing too late how fucked up it all is right before the hideous inbred kid hits me over the head and turns me into a blood eagle. And then Terror Dragon 13 says, love this movie. The pictographs at the beginning and in the middle of the celebration involving the love potion were fascinating looks into the plot. And there are some hidden faces, too, in the movie. The trippy effects on the flowers and such at the end really got me as well. And so many beautiful girls. I would be trapped there, too. Sounds awful nice to Atespupa when I'm too old to go on, too. That life cycle, which I agree. I commented. I agree with that. I said 72. That's my winter.
That's your, I do love that. I love those cycles. It's cool.
So,
but dude, it's the beautiful women. I'm like, kind of, but they kind of creep me out a little bit. I love them. They're very interesting looking, which is really cool. I don't know. I mean, they're conventionally attractive, but
Well,
it's
I'm a
like,
fan of the more like,
they- they're kind of like that. The girl that gets bred is like fucking a little funky. I was like, she's
She's got a vibe.
she's so white. It is. It's she's like China.
Freckly. She is like a porcelain doll or some shit.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why they chose. So, oh my god, dude, 82 said, I loved it. One of the more creepier movies I've seen in recent years. Most horror movies tend to take place at night, but this one is oddly bright, having taken place mostly during the daytime. Everything is made to seem like a celebration, but it is incredibly disturbing. The opening sequence and the sacrifice scene were done almost too well. You definitely don't see the ending coming either. I thought this movie was brilliant. Check Black GSD says, I thought it was a derivative of The Wicker Man, the 70s version, not the Nick Cage abomination. Which I commented and I could see that point. I do feel like, and I said, what I said to that was like, this is, The Wicker Man is the grandfather of, we talked a little bit about folk horror when we did The Blood on Satan's Claw.
I know, right? I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah.
And it's like The Wicker Man is like the grandfather of that genre. I feel like this movie is
I've
obviously
never seen-
of the same genre.
I've never seen The Wicker Man,
Oh, really?
and I
It's
feel
good.
like a fool. And I know, and Travis, I was talking to Travis, and he said he's seen both of them. Says the original is better, obviously, but it's like, I'm like, man, I tried to watch it, I couldn't find it streaming anywhere, and so I didn't want to buy it. So I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, maybe for Horrortober we'll
Steven?
throw it in there because
yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I barely remember it. But
Yeah, I would love to see it.
I do like it. I
It's classic.
feel like this movie does a little bit more, but it like is obviously within the same genre, so it owes respect and pays homage to that.
And I think you mentioned in the Reddit too, where like you're like, it's such a small subgenre that it's kind of like yeah, dude, there's only like 10 of these movies made.
Literally, name me
Really?
10. Name me 10 folk horror movies.
I can't even name you 3.
It's hard.
I mean,
without a
except for the
stretch.
3 that we just are talking about right now.
Literally.
So it's like,
I only got a couple. I got a couple more. Just because we got a lot, I figured I'd read them. So.
sure, yeah.
Absolutely underappreciated film from the framing, plot, dialogue, use of color, character motivation. Oh, this is old school Drew, by the way. Even some ambiguous elements. Just about every aspect is done creatively and about as ideally as you would want. And knowing it is actually based as a folklore-themed relationship and analogy really pulls in a level of psych horror that many of us would probably miss. Airy is approaching a Hitchcock-esque level of mixing horror with art, personal expression, and social commentary. Rare.
Yeah, fucking great comment, dude. And that in his interview, Ari was like, well, I wrote this because I was going through one of the like worst breakups of my life, and so I'm like, noted, dog. we can tell. And yeah, he said he took a lot of that, that adventure that he wants to fill afterwards, but then like the loss, and fantastic writing. Great. Fuck,
You got a money minute?
With that. Oh, sure, I can give you that, guy. So I looked it up, and it was made for $9 million, which makes perfect sense because it just fills the scope. It feels so large, with like sound design. It seems rich, and it's just full. It's full of people.
Built all the sets.
Right. So just it felt bigger to me. Like I don't know. It felt. It's like
9
rich
million
in texture.
9 million's tight. Like it's a good amount, but you could definitely tell that they is conservative and they did a lot with it. You know what I mean? Like for sure.
Definitely I definitely feel like, and it like so. I mean, and it did great. It made it made 48 mil.
Nice.
Back.
That's great.
So I mean, it's doing great. I'm gonna look at it real quick. See, yeah, okay. So I guess that's kind of his estimate or his kind of his average budget, because Hereditary was 10 million.
Yeah.
So, but that Hereditary made more. Wow, that's wild. Hereditary made 80.
Exactly. But Hereditary is definitely I don't want to say like more approachable, more.
Right.
It is because it's like a straightforward horror movie.
It's not as slow, yeah, like slow pace.
It's shorter. It's a straightforward horror movie. Like it does.
Midsommar doesn't beat though, dude. I don't feel like Midsommar needs to be any shorter.
Now, even the longer version of it, I fucking loved. Like it does, it moves at a slow pace, but like it's the perfect pace for it. And honestly, I prefer the director's version. You should watch it if next time you watch it. just because it's like I like the movie so much, I want more of the character development, which actually does lean more to like, because there's so much tension within just the main characters that is important to the plot. You know what I mean? It's like, so they cut some of that out to focus more on like the cult stuff, which I could understand, but they even cut quite a bit of that. So,
Sweet dude.
what was your favorite part? And then we'll listen to Travis's thing.
I know you kind of mentioned your favorite part.
I don't know. That's maybe the best part. Maybe just like it's just such a good high point in the middle of the movie that just as you're about to lose, like you're like, okay, what's going on here? And then you're like, oh fuck.
I think the sequence of her grieving with the group and their matching breath, that's probably my favorite. That's probably the most emotional I got. Like watching that, like it just I felt so good for her. Like it was tragic, you know, but it was kind of this like acceptance of the grief. It like
fucking love
beautiful.
That
dude, that and the screaming. I love like the energy behind it. It feels so good.
It's like animalistic. It's such a release, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the first time in a long time like she's just fully just let it all out. Because the whole time she was like she's holding it in.
She runs away. She always runs away.
She runs away. She's barely
away.
Containing it. She runs into the bathroom, whatever. But this time she just has the full on sobs, like leave your body type sobbing, crying, but like having this group be fully invested in like this empathy for you, feeling it with you, which knowing that, because I didn't realize that the first time I saw the movie, but on the last two viewings, that makes the scene where they jump off the cliff all the better, because when they start screaming, they're trying to feel his pain with him. They're like letting him know. Like, you think it's so weird, like it's botched, but no. They're like, we're doing this with you. We're here with you. This is our pain as a community.
They're all connected. Like it's a hive mind style. Like they're all like sharing one body.
Cool. Well, and even at the very end, when they have the whole release of like the main burning of the festival, they're all having their total releases in different ways. Some people are laughing, some people are crying.
But no, it's sick though. It's sick because it's silent. Everyone's silent inside until the one guy starts screaming, and then everyone starts screaming, and like that. And so like that like togetherness, her crying, them sobbing, that like just cinematically, it's beautiful to look at. Like I love how it's framed when he goes to that high angle, and then it's just like that, like the breathing and the sound design is beautiful. But then I think like it's their bread and butter for advertisement and shit, but that like her and her dress, her and the gown, you know why I got it on my shirt, because it's just like that's so beautiful. I love all the flowers.
That's the last shot.
I love her smile.
Right?
Last shot.
But
just like
and the music is
smile.
the most uplifting music too. It's like, and that's what I literally, when it ended, I said that's her rebirth. She's just been reborn, man. Like she just shed all this stuff, and this is everyone else shedding all their grief, all their misery and everything.
I want to see her at 72, dude. I want to see her like we need a movie with her at 71 and
Midsommar.
Midsommar. Hell yeah, dude. What's your favorite part? Like I know
probably that.
I think we can agree that the jumping part is
like, I think the whole movie's
visceral, and I love it.
I think the whole movie's good, but the jumping part, and then I was gonna say the part when they're like after she catches Christian like in that weird ritual sex scene, and it has the whole breakdown, and then everyone's screaming with her. But those two parts, and then I think that the beginning is so well done, and just so fucking brutal in the way that it's done, and like the anxiety it creates, and like just how much it sets up. Like it's such a good opening, it just hooks you into. So I think it's
right. It's kind of one of those like if it's I think it's a good test to see if you can hang. It's like you can make it through this, and then you'll be okay.
Seriously.
So it's like
Okay, let's see what Travis has to say, huh?
Yeah, but
maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't, so let's find out.
Let's try it again. Kind of keep it away, yeah.
Midsommar was a beautiful movie in all aspects. From the very cool opening shots of nature in winter that were interrupted by a loud phone ringing, I was glued to the screen the whole time. I think this is a movie that needs to be seen again, just for all the artwork alone. I'm sure the paintings have to do with how the story turns out. I have to admit, I was expecting an escape by the students. So much better that didn't happen. At times I was reminded of the movie The Wicker Man, but what I think makes Midsommar better is the character journey of Danny. From losing her family to gaining a new one, amazing. So my question today is, what's up with both of your letterbox reviews of this movie? You guys only combined for one sentence and some emojis. Thanks.
That sounds like you. I don't do emojis.
I know, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did some emojis for mine too. I don't know. It's weird. It's like this movie's so heavy, and I don't know. It's sometimes when like we're gonna do the podcast for it, I don't go like super in depth on my review.
However, though, Travis, I don't know what my review was, but
you literally just said like it's a great folk horror. Something like literally it's very it's masterfully done. Folk horror needs to be seen again. Or something
really,
super,
I haven't done, because I think the first time I did the Letterboxd review, it was like when I first started doing Letterboxd. So I wasn't doing as much. Where now I'd probably give a little bit more, couple sentences, small paragraph type of response. So I haven't redone my Letterboxd, but I was actually planning on doing it. So just I know you'll be there liking it, Travis, as in I'll be liking yours.
Mine's just a pair of lungs with a flower and a crown.
Is there a lung emoji? What the fuck?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I typed it in to search. I was like, lungs, and
I lied. I'm definitely just having a lung emoji for sure.
I know, right? It works perfect. But anyways, it's like
breathing is such a big deal in the movie, and then also Simon's got his lungs outside of his body, so that's fun.
Yeah. But no, and Travis, on the subject of art, that the huge painting that Danny has in her room, where it's like the little like girl with the bear.
Yeah.
That artist is like a super like famous folk, like Swedish folk artist. And if I get back to my notes, that painting is called like Stalker's Boss, and it's painted by John Bowen John Bauer. And like I don't know, it's cool because he's just a Swedish folk artist, and that is super integral into the story.
I have decided. I feel like this movie has got to have a like an art book, you know?
Oh, dude, I know.
Because there is like so much art that went into
A24 probably.
They do that kind of shit all the time.
They make cards a lot, but
so I want to find some more of the art of it because I've decided I'm getting a tattoo of like I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna one of those ruins or something, or just something because it's so cool.
The bear's cool, or so it's like I saw it all. I saw
you get the close up of the girl with the blood coming out of her pussy.
Oh yeah,
the drawing on the tapestry.
Yeah, I don't. Well, it reminds me, dude.
Just on your neck.
We gotta ask David. It reminds me a lot of those. Remember those the like in the Balkan when they're talking about the Balkan and they're like. I would dig a small hole and he would put his member in the hole, and then I'd put herring in it and menstrual blood, and it would like
fuck yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right? And it's just wild. I was like the
I
whole
thought
time
you were gonna say the menstrual werewolf, but we'll save that for the ramble.
Menstrual werewolf, classic. But no, the scene where they're forcing the salting herring down her throat.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's up with that, dude? Something probably vitality or something like
something. Yeah.
But I liked it. I never really paid attention to it the first time. Watching it this time, I'm like, oh man, I wonder what would happen if she swallowed it. Because they're like, in one bite or whatever. They're like chanting like, on your first try.
And
then she spits it out.
All in one bite. Swallow a whole.
Swallow a whole. I think that's what swallow a whole. So it's like, I wonder. That's the little details in this would be fun. It'd be cool to find out some more.
It's a really great movie, and I really like it. So
yeah,
you should watch
it.
I did too. And it's like a lot of movies we say. A lot of the best movies I really enjoyed the first time around, but like are you understand their intricacies more on rewatches, and this is definitely one of those. Like every time I watch it, there's something new for me to discover. There's something new for me to appreciate. I mean, even if it gets to the point where that's not the case, like everything is done just so well. From the script is just so tight, the fucking cinematography and the music and sound design and the effects and just like the acting and just, everything's just so solid as fuck. So, that's gonna be a 5 out of me, dog.
Yeah, cool, man. Go.
You got any
it.
other further remarks before I break some terrible news to you, which I'm sure you already know, but.
Ari Aster's birthday is the same day as Victoria.
Oh, really? And lumps?
So on lumps, Jesus. And so on Victoria's birthday, I'm gonna throw her an Ari Aster party.
You should. Just like get her a hereditary cake. She's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it's severed head. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck you. But what's the terrible news? What do you got?
Terrible news for me and you, maybe. So they did it. Those bastards did it. I was scared that this was gonna happen, but I should have known better. But I got my hopes up because we were close. So next month we're doing blockbuster movies, big blockbusters.
Oh. Was it Star Wars? Did Star Wars win?
Yeah.
It did. By how many?
Like
I
three.
I was really close.
Like
3.
three.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You wanted Indy to win, and I was like, dude, it was so close.
I wanted Indy to win just because. I think that
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think that Raiders of the Lost Ark is a much better film, but also because you've never seen it. And
that was the reason. But I've seen Star Wars once when I was like 13 with Chet, so I don't.
I've seen it a couple times. The first one's okay, but it's just like I'm interested to see. I'm glad we're watching it because I'm interested to see how we feel. Two general, like we're film snobby butts that don't like Star Wars as a whole. How we do about a Star. I didn't think we'd ever do a Star Wars episode. If you asked me,
I'm actually kind of excited.
Yeah, if you asked me 6 months ago, hey, do you want to do a Star Wars episode? I'd be like, never. This cult of Simonology is never doing a fucking Star Wars episode ever, or a Marvel episode. Suck my dick. I'm not doing it. I refuse.
It's the first Star Wars. I don't know.
The original trilogy is fine, but I'm sure we'll have some things to say about it. So we'll see where we land. I'm interested to see where it started to where it's become, because maybe my vision is so clouded by Star Wars fucking mania down in my face constantly these days. You know what I mean? The last 15 years or whatever. It's just
the look of them is like seems very generic to me. I know. I mean, bring it on. Bring on the hate. I love it because
we will see. We will see, because the only thing I like, my favorite thing about Star Wars, is the aesthetic and the art design and the world building. That's my favorite thing.
I feel like the newer ones now kind of seem sterile and all the same.
That's why the best one, the 100% the best one, in my opinion, I'm saying it right now, is Rogue One. Rogue One's
right, and that's what I heard, because it's supposed to mimic the 70s version, but it's done better.
Well, not even that. It just has nothing to do with Jedis, which I don't care about the Jedi saga like at all, really. It's just literally rebels and space blasters, which is fun. It's just a cool sci-fi movie. So, cool. All right. Well, we're watching that. Thanks for listening.
Star Wars it is. And follow us on Patreon, please. We've got our happy followers: Kylie Landon, Thomas, parents. You know who you are. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you much.
You'll get our bonus episodes. We're gonna throw a bonus episode on our live stream.
I will do it. I'm so sorry.
You can get like a little nibble of what we do.
I'm an irresponsible man, but I'm also a dad. So it's
you're a birthday dad, dude.
I can't. Every week I'm like, holy shit, it's already Tuesday. We're recording again. So every weekend I'm like, fuck, it's Sunday. I got to put up a poll. Shit.
Yeah. And then feel free to call in like Travis does. You can dial 801-613-1501.
Hooray!
Thanks.
All right. Thanks for listening. Go to the Reddit. Vote. We're watching Star Wars next week, and then I'll have some more blockbusters. I'm kind of going to work my way up from like starting with the 70s with Jaws and stuff.
That's what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of work my way up in more modern days, even though a lot of them are sequels, so I might get kind of wacky with it. But it's our film club, so we do whatever we want. So thanks for everyone for voting. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for listening to this. Check us all out on all those things, like we said. Check out Letterboxd. And thanks. Goodbye.
Put on your crown of flowers.
I'm wearing a crown.
And feel sexy, dude. Yeah. So happy for the heat, baby. All right, see ya.
Nope. Okay, bye.